Welcome to the Not Just Waiting podcast. I'm your host, Reanna Hoffman, and this is a space for women learning to wait well and live fully. Whether you're in the middle of uncertainty, transition, or just figuring out what's next, this podcast is here to remind you you are not behind, not forgotten, and definitely not just waiting. Let's dig into truth, grow in courage, and hold on to hope together. Hey friends, welcome back to the Not Just Waiting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. If you are anything like me, you've had seasons where waiting felt endless. You're praying, you're hoping, you're watching other people's lives move forward, and you're stuck wondering, why not me? Why not now? This week on Instagram, I shared a thought, progress over perfection, and it really struck a chord with so many of you because waiting seasons rarely feel perfect. They're messy, they're uncertain, and sometimes they're just plain painful. But what if waiting isn't wasted? What if it's actually preparation? God's way of strengthening roots before growth becomes visible. Today, we're going to talk about that. So let's start with some honesty. Waiting feels heavy because it exposes what we can't control. It's the job application that's unanswered. It's the prayer that feels like silence. It's the relationship status that hasn't changed. In waiting, we often meet our own impatience, comparison, and fear. I remember a season when I was sending out applications, working hard behind the scenes, and yet nothing seemed to open. I started asking, God, are you even moving? Did I miss something? Maybe you've been there. Psalm 27:14 says, wait for the Lord, be strong, let your heart take courage, and wait for the Lord. Notice, it doesn't say waiting is easy. It says waiting requires courage. Courage to believe God hasn't forgotten you. Courage to stay steady when nothing feels steady. Waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means that there are things that are happening that you can't see. Think about seeds underground. We've got tons of plants back here. I'm trying to plant some zinnias behind my house, and I'm really hoping they're going to bloom. But think about them. Before the sprout even breaks the surface, roots are forming. Those roots make sure the plant can handle the wind, the rain, the heat, the hail, the snow, the sleet. Without strong roots, growth won't last. Those zinnias that I'm trying to water, I realize that I can't water them with my water hose. I have to water them with my watering can because if I let my water hose go, it uproots them. I don't know the logic or the science behind it, but it literally uproots my zinnias. So we know that roots are important because they hold the plant strong. That's kind of what God does when we're in a waiting season. He strengthens our character. He heals the wounds that we would rather ignore. He teaches us dependence on Him. He clarifies what truly matters. This is where I want to bring in something I recently learned on Substack. It says, your job is obedience and God's job is the outcome. Emily Vermillion taught us that last week. What changes everything? The fact that our job is obedience and God's job is the outcome. While we're waiting, we don't have to manufacture results. We can't just poof them. There is no genie in a bottle. We don't have to hustle to make the doors open. Our only job is obedience, to take the next right step. God's job is the outcome, the timing, the provision, the doors that swing open and close, and open and close. When I look back, I can see times that I was frustrated in waiting. But God was actually preparing me. Skills I didn't know that I needed, friendships that would sustain me, healing that would anchor me in the next season. There's a lot of times that I look back at my teaching seasons and I'm like, Lord, what was the purpose? And then I get to do cool stuff like writing and creating PowerPoints and teaching and sharing with you guys. And I'm like, okay, the skills that I needed now were developed when I was a teacher, even though I didn't have control of the outcome. Our job is obedience and God's job is the outcome. So we all know that I'm a very practical person. I like to give practical tips. So if waiting is preparation, how do we steward it? Number one, we're going to celebrate the small things. Remember the progress over perfection? And the progress is greater than perfection. Even if you don't see the full picture, God honors the small steps. Reading scripture every day, that's progress. Choosing prayer over worry is progress. Texting a friend for accountability is progress. We're going to celebrate those small things because I too have a tendency to want things that are perfect. But even today, I submitted an article to be published somewhere, and I was like, I can perfect it and not submit it on time, or I can submit it even though it's not perfect. And in that case, progress was greater than perfection because if I don't submit it, there's no way it can be published. So we're going to follow what the Lord tells us to do. We're going to take one tiny step and we're going to celebrate those small steps. We actively keep sparkling cider in our fridge to celebrate the small things. This past weekend, we had a housewarming party and we got to celebrate the small thing with some cider. We're going to celebrate the small things. 2, we're going to create simple rhythms. Waiting is the perfect time to anchor yourself. Maybe that's journaling your prayers. Maybe it's memorizing one verse a week, or maybe it's taking a walk to process things with God. These rhythms keep your heart engaged while you wait. I'm one of those people that every time the season changes, my rhythms change. And when my rhythms change, I get all out of whack. And so in waiting seasons, those are the time that you get to try out what works for you and learn what doesn't. So for a season, all I did was listen to scripture via podcast because I couldn't sit down and read it because I would get distracted by the laundry that needed to be done and the dishes that needed to be put away and this, that, and the other that needed to be done. But I could turn on that podcast and I could listen for 3 hours and retain it while trying to study scripture. Now, that's not the case right now, but the season changed, so my rhythm changed. It might be coming back pretty soon because it's fall and I tend to do that in the fall. So we're going to create some simple rhythms. 3, we're going to rest in identity, not performance. Waiting can make us feel less than. I felt it. You felt it. You've seen the Instagram posts of people getting married, of people getting engaged, of people having babies, of people having brand new jobs and brand new houses and brand new careers. And you're like, Lord, what are you doing? Why is it not me? And in those seasons, we tend to tie our worth with what we have, what we can produce, and it becomes our identity. But your worth is not tied to your timeline. You are loved, you are seen, and you are valued right here, right now. Not in what you think you need, not in the comparison that you see on social media, but where you are right now. The Lord calls you good, and He is sovereign, and He created you for a purpose, on a purpose. And you are seen, you're valued, and you're loved. So rest in the fact that the Lord created you, and He loved you, and He has you exactly where you are for a reason. Number 4, we're going to lean into our community. You are not the only one waiting. I'm waiting. Your friends are waiting. Your mom's waiting. Everybody's waiting on something, even if it's just for Jesus to come back. So we need to be in community and share those things. So you're going to want to share with a trusted friend or your small group. Sometimes saying, I'm waiting and it's hard is the first step to finding encouragement and accountability. So if you are looking for community, and you can't find it in your local church or you're kind of confused as to where to find it, please DM me. I would love to connect you wherever you are in the US or across the world with some people that want to be that community for you. So please reach out. So to recap, because we're practical, we're going to celebrate the small things. We're going to create simple rhythms. We're going to rest in identity and not performance, and we're going to lean into our community. If you're listening today and you feel like waiting is wasted, I want to remind you, God wastes nothing. I'm going to say it again. God wastes nothing. That job application, He's shaping your resilience. Even if you've submitted 202, I have a friend that has. The prayer you've prayed 100 times, He's forming deeper faith in you. He is sovereign. It's on His timing, not ours. That silence that you hate, because trust me, I hate it too. He's strengthening your roots. He's causing you to be able to grow so that He can do good work in you. Waiting isn't a pause button. It's preparation. So here's some things I want you to think about this week. What's one area of life where you're waiting right now? And what's one small step of obedience you can take, trusting God with the outcome? I'd love to hear your answers. Send me a DM on Instagram at reanna.ivy.hoff or feel free to reply on Substack. Sharing your story could encourage someone else in their waiting season. Friend, progress is greater than perfection. And your job is obedience. God's job is the outcome. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Waiting is not just waiting, it's growth, it's preparation, and you are not alone in it. See you next week. Bye, friends. Thanks for listening to the Not Just Waiting podcast. I hope today reminded you that even in the in-between, God is working and you are not alone. If this episode encouraged you, would you share it with a friend? And don't forget to hit follow so you never miss a moment of truth, hope, and real conversation. You can find me on Instagram at reanna.ivy.hoff and join the community over on Substack for deeper reflections and weekly encouragement. Until next time, take heart, friend. God is in the waiting with you.